Hi guys, my name is Karim Kiswani, and in this video I'm going to show you how to repair a plasterboard gyprock wall, all the way from me even putting the hole in the wall to backfilling, taping up, all the coats of mud, sanding, ready for paint. Alright guys, now comes time to the fun bit. Let's go put a hole in the wall. Ta-da! Alright guys, so we want to grab our measuring tape and then put the end of the measuring tape in the corner of the wall to get the start on our hole to mark it out. So we want to keep it on the edge of the broken hole here. So what I'm saying is I want to go about 920, make a mark, and then I want to go about 1100 right there, make another mark. Bring your tape measure down and repeat that exact same thing. 920, 1100. Just like that. Alright guys, now we've got our measurements coming from right to left, which are these marks here, these measurements. Now we want to come from the bottom to the top to get some more measurements to cut out our perfect square, okay? Grab your straight edge guys, and now all you're doing is connecting the dots. That's your square to cut out guys. So a tip with this one guys is your first one, you just want to score the paper of the plasterboard. So you don't have to go too hard, okay? So we're from there, following the line all the way across to the other one, and then coming down. And now guys, you can go pretty, like, a little bit harder. Alright guys, so now I feel like my board is ready to come out. So it's not going to take much work to come out. So you bend them up, bend the board back, bend it forward. See that? Nice and neat cut out. Nice and neat. Clean up the dags, the loose bits of plasterboard, because try and make it nice and neat for when we're going to throw some mud in. It's going to be less work for us. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that. Lovely. Let's go get our timbers. We're going to screw them on the back side of these sheets. Alright guys, so when you go out to your local hardware or your plasterboard specialist, you can go and get your timber or your metal studs. In this case I'm using timber, just your 70 by 30 treated pine, strong enough. I like to use it, it's what I'm familiar with. For screws wise, just go and grab your stock standard 6 gauge 25mm plasterboard screws. And now we got our timber to put in behind the plasterboard, okay? So what we're trying to achieve here is we want to have a little bit of timber above and a little bit of timber on the underside, okay? So that right there is a perfect spot. So picture this timber behind this plasterboard sheet. That is ideally where we want to be placing our timber, okay? Remembering last time we wanted to keep the timber about 1.5 inches above and about 1.5 inches below, okay? So just putting the timber in now, just feel it with your fingers, about 1 inch, yeah, and about 1 inch under, okay? And you want to keep it to the far of the right, whichever side you're doing first, or either the left or the right, you want to keep it all the way to the side as far as you can. And all you're doing is you're going to just screw in there. That's your timber right there. We're going to put a couple more in just so the timber holds, and we're going to do the same thing on this left side here, okay? Alright guys, so that's how you do it. Okay, you want to keep the plasterboard screws, don't push them too far into the plasterboard where it breaks the paper. Okay, that's obvious. You'll notice it when it breaks the paper. You want to try and keep it just on the underside of flush with the plasterboard. So just like that is round about perfect. We're going to measure this square and we're going to cut our new plasterboard sheet to suit. Okay, so got my two 180 measurements, perfect. All right, draw your mark for your height, which is about there. Anywhere's fine. It's a big sheet. From that mark, measure down to get your 150 measurement, or whatever your height is. Bam, 150, perfect. All right, draw your mark. That's the piece we're going to be putting into there. Alright guys, now time to cut your sheet. Grab your Stanley knife and just lightly, doesn't have to be any hard because you'll see why in a second. Follow that line. Just like that guys. So now we're going to see if it fits. Okay, it might need a little bit of trimming, which 90% of the time you'll have to trim the board to let it go in. So in this case, it just needs a bit of trimming in this corner and this corner, okay? Just on an angle like that, okay? Just on a nice angle, like that. And on the other side as well. Alright guys, so we've trimmed our board just like so to make it fit, okay? Getting rid of all the little dags of paper that are left like that, so that's fine. But see how here I've trimmed all the edges to make it fit. Now I'm going to put the sheet in and it should sit perfectly. Okay, so just keep it nice and even. I like it right there. Okay, you want to put a screw in the corner of the sheets, okay, like that. Another one right here. It's going to want to push out the board, so just nice and gentle because you don't want to break away. You don't want to break away the timbers because they're only tacked there by the screws. So just grabbing the end of your fiber tape, okay? And all you want to be doing is just going over the screws and the join from the old plasterboard to the new plasterboard, okay? It's got that self-adhesive backing, so it'll just stay there once you scrape it back with the broad knife. Just like that, okay? And tip of the trade to get rid of it, okay? All you do is place your broad knife on the end where you want to snap it off and push up like that. It'll just break off just like that. Alright guys, now to go on the next part of your join, try not to overlap over your other tape. For me, time isn't of the essence. That way I'm going to use a Canal Total Joint Finish. It is a air drying compound. You can do all 3 coats with it. First coat base, second coat base, and your top coat. wiping the excess back off your knife. Okay, so it's nice and clean like that. Okay, and all you're going to be doing is taking away the excess. Okay, see that? So I've taken away 90% of the excess, and I'll put it back on my broad knife, leaving like that. Now I'm going to go down, grabbing a little bit more mud to finish off the down, like that. Lovely. With your knife, 2 fingers on the back, you want to be applying a little bit of pressure, which means pushing down with your 2 fingers to take away the excess. Just like that. Wiping it back on your broad knife. Okay. And that's your first coat done. Okay guys, so when your patch is dry, it'll look very white and you can touch it. There'll be no moisture in it. There'll be no mud coming back off your fingers like that. So what you want to do is you want to grab your 6-inch broad knife, like so. Give it a light scrape just to get rid of any lines within the patch, just like so. Alright, and pretty much just basically do exactly what we did when we put the first coat of mud on, the first base. Just do exactly like that again, spreading it on, wiping it away, taking it back off. Exactly like we did on the first coat. Just like that, and wait for that to dry, and then we'll put on our top coat. Now it's time to do your top coat, but before you do that, we're going to give it a quick light scrape again before we add any more mud for your top coat. Alright guys, now it's time to put the mud on the wall. Remembering we can be a little bit generous with this load because whatever goes on the wall, we're going to send it back so it's nice and flush, ready for paint. So you just want to spread the mud just on the outside of the white, making your patch a little bit wider. So it's making it a little bit more even across the wall when you sand it and paint it. Alright guys, my mud's on the wall now. I've put a generous coat over it, okay? So now what you want to do is you want to start with your outside, okay? You want to take off the outside mud first. And how we're going to do that is, we're going to push down on one of our fingers, the finger that's on the outside of the mud. So if I'm starting up the top first, I want to push down on the finger that's on the top, okay? So you want to take as much mud away across the top, okay, all the way around, and when I go down on this side, I'm going to be applying this finger down and down. You see what I mean? See how the mud's taken off and it's a nice smooth edge on the outside? That's what you want to do. You want to do that all the way around. This is my finish knife. So starting from the side, I'm going to take off just a little bit. Just like that, top coat's all done. All right, now we're up to our sanding stage, the last stage before you paint. This is it, guys. Patch is nearly done. So what you want to do is you want to grab a dust mask. Unfortunately, I didn't get any dust masks, so I fully forgot. But just get a rag or anything to just cover your face, because there is going to be a lot of dust around and you don't want to breathe that in. Bad stuff, bad stuff. So do get yourself a dust mask, but if you don't have one, cover your face with anything. So tip right now is you want to start off sanding the edges in a straight line, okay, all the way around first, just nice and light. And then after you've done your edges, you want to, in a circular motion, work your way in towards the middle. Remembering to take a pause every few strokes, feel out your patch, make sure there's no lines, okay? You want to get it nice and flat, okay? This is it. So because when you paint it, that's it. You'll see the lines, if there is lines. You want to get it as flat as you can. So just take your time, take a break, feel it out with your hand, make sure there's no lines, make sure it's always smooth, okay? Let's have a go. Alright guys, so that's everything. If you like what I did here, please like and subscribe for future videos, future renovations here at the house, where I take on more things. Look forward to seeing you there. Cheers.